I think we want to like have big numbers, and sometimes we forget that slow and steady kind of wins the race, so to speak. And so taking one person at a time, seeing one person rather than seeing a sale is, I think, the bigger thing for me.
Good morning, friends. My name is Andy Goddard, and I believe that you were born to be free. And doTERRA is the best vehicle for creating freedom, for unlocking potential in your life, whether it's health potential, financial potential, even emotional. doTERRA just has this incredible tool set that allows us to create and to liberate. So thank you for joining us in this mission of liberating and lifting others, as Rod and Seth often say. That's what we do here. We're freedom fighters, right? So Natalie and I have been at this for almost 18 years. We love the journey of personal development that doTERRA offers. And we love sharing the journey with others and sharing others' journeys. So that's what we do here is we interview people who have had success. It could be small, medium, large success. It doesn't matter what size success anyone's having, but we like to celebrate it all. So whatever type of success you're having, we invite you to celebrate that, to be in gratitude and just putting the focus on the success that you're having. Today, we invited Carol to be our guest. Carol is a premier leader. We recently saw her being recognized on Facebook. And so we reached out and said, hey, can we celebrate you and invite you to tell your story? Thank you so much for being on with us. We're just excited to hear more about where you've been, where you are today, and how you got here. So take it away.
Well, thank you first for having me. What a blessing just to be able to share my story with you. Um, I am, first of all, a woman of faith, and it's the most important thing in my life is my relationship with the Lord Jesus. The second is my husband, who is Rob Turner. And we'll celebrate 34 years of marriage on Saturday.
Wow,
So, yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. A
That's
week of
huge.
celebrations. I have three daughters, all adult, 31, 27, and today my youngest daughter turned 26.
How
And
fun.
Kendra will be 26 today. I live in Virginia, just south of DC in the Fredericksburg area. And I am an executive director for E3 Kids International. It's a nonprofit that my husband and I started to equip schools, empower communities with clean, safe water, and women to be in school and then to educate impoverished kids. I primarily work in Kenya, but our organization works in Guatemala, El Salvador, Togo, various just places throughout. Wherever there's a need and someone comes to us, Ghana is another one. We empower them to be able to walk along with people. And so that's my passion and love for the last 17 years. And I first took doTERRA to Kenya in 2012 because
Hmm.
my sinuses were so bad that,
Wow.
and when they got a hold of the peppermint, they said, oh, what is this? And so we started taking peppermint every year. And then one year I wanted to take a lot of it. So I just bought from other places too. We won't mention where, but they could tell the difference. So I got
Hmm.
to tell you, doTERRA's products are top of the line. But, you know, what really brought me here to where I am today is in 2023, I was in Kenya for 2 months and I came home sick. Recovered from that. I diverticulosis, my gut went. But with that, so did a lot of other things. And by the end of 2023, when I went back to Kenya and came home, I was in a nerve storm and I could not function. And I had a daughter's wedding. My youngest daughter was getting married, and I was in such pain. I had to go on some very serious medication just to endure the pain to be able to go. And my health continued to deteriorate to the point of needing surgery. And I gained 40 pounds. I lost my memory. I could not function brain wise. I was not passing the Alzheimer's test, and the doctor's referring to me for a neuropsych exam. So my health, my I say it deteriorated, I became non-functioning for a year and a half. And my friend Judy Danaher, who is in my upline, she contacted me in the blue and she said, "Hey, let's get coffee." We got coffee. She never even mentioned doTERRA, but she could tell that as I waddled to the place we were having coffee, that there was definitely I was not well. And she contacted me a day or so after that and said, "Hey, I just want to invite you to something that I've been doing and it's been helping me. Have you ever heard of doTERRA?" And I said, "Oh, I love doTERRA. I love the peppermint oil." And that's all I knew. Um, but since then, starting back in August of last year when I attended her first class, I started using the products. The Wellness Foundation and the Advantage were the two things that started changing my world and my life. Getting my health back, getting more solid in my hip that had torn, gluteus maximus and minors. They had shredded. My neck was the kind of the testimony that sold me really on doTERRA. I started using Symphony of the Cells, and I did a lot with frankincense.
Hmm.
And I put frankincense and red light on my C6 is about this area of my back, my neck. And I continued to do that for 1 month, found out about this Symphony of the Cells, started using cocobaiba, Siberian fir, lemongrass, a bunch of different things that were all together for inflammation. And I started seeing that the inflammation, the hump that was on my neck was decreasing physically. And then the pain was going away as well. And so I was like, okay, I started taking cocobaiba and frankincense internally. So using the products alone sold me on what. So by Christmas time, when I averted surgery, I said, okay, now I want to look at this because I can't, when the Lord moves me, he uses my voice for change. And so I wanted to tell others. I saw women just like me struggling to walk, struggling with pain, losing their memory. And I said, what can I do? How can I use this, my own personal experience, to further? So Judy started telling me about the business. And so in December, I signed up several of my family members right off the bat, and they became advocates immediately. Um, and then I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I really need to know that I know that this company is where I want to put my time and effort, and is this the right company for me? So I went to conference. I came out to experience doTERRA. I used every podcast and everything else that's been out there just to educate myself. And so that's kind of where and how I have gotten started. And I just literally started really in March with my business. So.
Wow, amazing. What a journey you've been on. So it sounds like Judy, she won you over.
Hmm.
She gave you some product experience and that was transformative.
Hmm.
So then you decided what? Like what how did she present the business and how did you decide to start sharing and building?
Well, when people started seeing my change, I also used the MetaPower experience and I started working with Natalie Reeves and I lost 40 pounds. So people were seeing the physical transformation as well as, Carol couldn't walk up steps, not alone 4 flights of stairs. What's going on? What are you doing? And so when people started asking me, I started saying, okay, well, let me share with you. So I became a really big sharer. And then I was like, well, how do you do this? So that's when I decided to really, have Judy and Sarah Shimako. They have been amazing to help me grow. So I got to say, I love the support that doTERRA has, not only for information, like the Essential Life book that you all wrote. I use that all the time, second to my Bible, because it really has life changing. And so how I decided was when people were asking me, I needed to know how to do this, how to offer them the same hope, which and the same offer of healing that I was able to do as well with the product. And so I sat down and said, okay, where do I want to be with doTERRA? And how can I fit this into my extremely busy schedule? And I'm shifting. I'm 62. I'm starting to shift a little. I'm not traveling to Kenya 2 times a year at 2 months at a time. So I'm here more.
Mhm.
So trying to redefine. I have 2 grandbabies coming in 7 months or 7 weeks apart
Wow.
this summer.
Congrats.
So got a lot of activity going on, but I also can't be quiet about something that has changed my life and that can offer hope to others. And so I just dove in and started speaking to people and using my voice. So,
Amazing. And did you start with, I mean, I know your upline very well. I assume they invited you to make a names list
yep.
and get intentional.
Yes.
Tell us more about some of the nuts and bolts of the specifics.
So I'm a little different than probably most because I made the list. I did contact people. I tried to make everything happen and tried to do all these classes and everything else. And it was like they did not work for me. And
Hmm.
so, which, I was attending everybody else's classes, but when people were coming into my home, they weren't coming. So then I had to say, okay, what am I doing here? And I think for me, I got too pressured. And the biggest thing Lindsay said to me was, right now you're learning and sharing and growing. So I think there's steps to each thing. You have to understand the products and what you're doing and how to communicate them well before effectively. So I read the live guide, the launch guide, I read all the guides. I listened to the podcast about the products. And then I decided to go back to my list and say, okay, who here do I feel called to reach out to? And I did a lot more one-on-ones. Once I did the one-on-ones and I got people who then committed, then I had a class and then signed up a whole bunch. So it was kind of, for me, one-on-one was more effective
Hmm.
and not to shy away from that. I think we want to like have big numbers, and sometimes we forget that slow and steady kind of wins the race, so to speak. And so taking one person at a time, seeing one person rather than seeing a sale is, I think, the bigger thing for me. And yeah, it's great to get people to sign up, and you definitely want to build your business, but at the same time, you want to. I needed to ask the Lord, okay, who is it specifically you want me to serve? Who is it that you want me to share with? And then I had much more effectiveness there. So I went back to my list of 100 names and said, okay, who of these people? And when you have trusted relationships with those people, they tend to say okay without a whole lot. And then there's also financial restraints for some people, trying to figure out how to help them start one product at a time and what's best for them. So,
Wow. Yeah, you really can't overstate the power of a one-on-one, right? Because
exactly.
you can spend all the time on their specific health needs. You can really get into their dreams, their vision, their goals,
Mhm.
and you can tailor the whole conversation to them.
Yes.
And
And the
there's
Essential Life book, has been key to that. That is a
mm,
book that I have used and many people have bought because they see that, okay, there are some solutions to my specific problems.
mhm,
And that has
yeah.
been key to use the resources that are out there. The apps are great as
Mhm,
well. When you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have the book with you, you can pull it up on an app. So definitely using the tools that doTERRA has put into place,
mhm,
but then you can tailor it one-on-one when you see that
mhm,
somebody's struggling with arthritis, they're struggling with this or that,
mhm.
the different things, so that they can, have, oh, someone else has done this, oh, this is what they recommend. So let me try this. And a lot of times I will make up a roller ball for them of the oils, or I'll give them a little sample because I think that also brings people to is when you're willing to give a little, the return is great. And so,
Absolutely.
so for me, I don't always close the sale right away, but I give them the product experience if possible. And then you see, I've seen the sales grow. The other tool that I've used a lot, and I love that Tara's done it and continued it, is that 20% off, because it's amazing when you can use that in the economic times that we're in, because people say, oh, it's just too
Mhm,
expensive. Well, let me tell you, hey, right now there's a 20% off and it brings down these products to this. And
mhm,
maybe doubling up this month,
mhm.
spending a little more this month and then skip next month. I mean, it's probably not the best business. But at the same time, if we can get them to start taking it, that's where you get the long-lasting customers because the products speak for themselves.
Yeah, I love too that you're putting your focus on a product experience.
Hmm.
We used to say, it's really important to sample people. Well, it wasn't about the sample. It was about giving people an experience. And
Hmm.
so if you're in a space where you're one-on-one, there's no better time or place to give them a powerful experience that's tailored to them, their needs.
Yeah, I
So
totally
I love
agree.
that.
I totally agree. Even when I do classes, I try starting it off with an oil experience. I know
Hmm.
that's common, many people do it, but
Hmm.
you miss that when you're doing it online. When you're in
Yeah.
person, you definitely want to start with something that they can experience. They go, oh, wow. And that
Hmm.
wow factor is something. That's what peppermint did it for me all those years ago that I took to Kenya when you had smog and pollution and your sinuses would be like, and I would do peppermint
Hmm.
and it was amazing how it opened me up. Also,
Yeah.
it helped with travel. It helped with so many things. But the people over there could tell the difference between the products. So, you
Hmm.
know, when you have something good, you want to share it. And that's the thing that you were talking about earlier about, born to be free. What do we want to be
Yep.
free of? Free of pain, free of
Hmm.
financial burdens. And I tell people, look, if
Hmm.
let's get you to a point where you can make 50, 100, 250 so that you can pay for your products or towards your
Yeah.
products. And that's the next thing. And I'm just learning to build and find those builders, find those people who are sharing now that want to become builders. And so,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with sharers, right? I'd rather have
Oh,
an army of sharers
yes,
than one strong builder. Like
I agree.
there's nothing better than, just people who are loving the product and loving to
Hmm.
share the product.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
the backbone of our business.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, I would rather have them too. And I know the Lord will bring somebody along to build with me and to continue to help me to grow. But I just need to wait and be patient and not push it. And I think,
Yeah.
so
Can I just put a little highlighter too around something that you said? When you were talking about how you started building, you said you just ask the Lord, who would you have me serve today?
yeah.
And I found that that is the prayer that is answered the fastest.
Hmm.
That exact prayer. Who would
Yeah.
you have me serve today?
Yeah.
And I just love that servant mindset. I love the outward focus, and I love this openness to like, hey, I'm not here to follow a rigid system. I'm here to receive inspiration and be
Yeah.
guided to the person in the greatest need. And
Yeah.
and
I
so
agree.
so that's so powerful. I hope everyone listening is writing, taking feverish notes because that's pure gold right there.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I grew up learning to serve others, and it's something that I think we need to teach our kids. My father, his legacy was a legacy of generosity, and I want that same no matter what I do, whether I'm serving people in Kenya or serving people here, whether I'm, you know, ministering to somebody that's, health is, you know, down and out, or they're an athlete, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's
Mhm.
helping empower them to be the best that God has made them to be, and to empower them out of the situation they're into, finding the freedom. And there's
Yeah.
no better freedom than service. And when we serve one another, we're free in spirit. We're free to open doors that we might not have been able to open otherwise if
Wow.
we hadn't served. So
Yeah. I don't know if there's a better cure to the loneliness pandemic that we're having,
yeah.
to the selfish pandemic we're having, like to the depression pandemic we're having. Like
Hmm.
I truly
Anxiety.
believe that service, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Service is kind of a cure-all. So,
Serve above self, and
yep,
that above all else, and that's kind of, that's the example that Christ gave to us.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if we could learn to, love God and love others, our world would be completely different. When you first opened the
amen.
podcast, you said, that many people are easily offended, no matter if you say one
Yeah,
thing or another. And I might have offended somebody today by saying where I am, but but my truth is, um, but
yeah,
that's the other thing is in this day and age, it's hard sometimes
yeah,
because people are easily offended, but we
mhm,
need to have a spirit of service and a bold spirit of love to walk with others, and the
yeah,
health that doTERRA gives, the
mhm,
freedom doTERRA gives, the oils
mhm,
emotionally. I've done some emotional. In fact, I'm going to an aromas. I'm going to a conference today up in DC, and it's all around, aromatherapy. And
Mm,
I'm really looking forward to that because I know that there's been some releases in my life, including
mhm,
experiencing doTERRA, just the Lord kind of using these oils to open up, emotionally. And so they're powerful. They're targeted in a
mhm.
lot of ways. And as I'm learning and growing more, I have, I can't be quiet about some of the healing properties that these oils can do.
Yeah.
So,
So powerful. Part of your story you said was inspiring hope in others. And as you began to found solutions and healing, and you specifically mentioned releasing 40 pounds.
mm.
I'm sure we have people online who are curious about that part of your journey and what was involved there.
Thanks. Part of that health journey, not only starting with the foundational wellness, I think that's key to, getting the VMG, the PB Restore and your omegas, getting your gut, your mind, your whole body kind of in sync. The collagen is key to helping with skin, hair, and nails. But also for me, it was what healed my hip, my ligaments and tendons, and so that was the start. And then I was like, okay, I really need to figure out how to get healthy again. And so I contacted Natalie Reeves through my upline, and I went on the Revive 45. So I started using all the products, all the MetaPower products, the soft gels, the cyst, the recharge, and again the MetaPower Advantage, and then Mighty 2 Max. All of those products really helped kind of getting me my body metabolism moving where it needed to be. And then I took sugar and flour out of my diet, and
Mm,
that brought a lot of the inflammation down. It
mm,
brought a lot of the sluggishness.
mm,
And so by taking the MetaPower soft gels, the MetaPower oil, I really felt like that was emulsifying the fat. The
mm,
carbohydrates are being prevented by this cyst. And so it's been a journey. It's not been a
mm,
quick weight loss. So I started in the beginning of September, mid-September, and probably lost 20 pounds by December and lost another
mm,
20 by now. So it's not, or not, yeah, I've lost 41. So it's been a gradual thing, and it's been a mainstay, changing my mindset
mhm,
also, and what I eat, and doing more intuitive eating, reading some of the books that are out there. Um, Good Energy. I can't
mm.
think of all the, sorry, I don't have them in front of me.
No, that's a classic right
Intuitive
there. Good
eating.
Energy is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and just learning again how to change habit stacking one thing after another. So you just, as you develop a habit, then you develop another and another, and as you do that, you see the changes.
Mm.
But yeah, Casey Means, she's an amazing writer.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible. So read
Yeah,
the book. I need to read it again.
I know,
Um,
right?
yeah. And then there were some other ones too. There was one on cholesterol. What was, no, not cholesterol. Judy, help me out here. So anyway, Judy and I have
Cord
walked a little bit of this journey together.
was it on
Um,
cortisol?
yeah, not about the cortisol.
I know that's a huge one.
Yeah,
Um,
what is that one? Maybe I need to read that one.
well, no, I'm
too.
just trying to
Yeah,
figure out
sorry.
what you.
Anyway, again, I think the MetaPower products speak for themselves. I think if
Yeah.
you take them accordingly, I do the soft gels 3 times a day with each meal. I do the cyst each day 3 times, so I'm taking quite a bit, and I have a little regimen. I have little teeny cups that I put my pills in, and that's what I take. I get a little bit of pill fatigue, so I'm grateful
Mhm,
for the VMG and the and the
mhm,
advantage being in powder. But I know that my health is worth it, and putting myself
mhm,
first and my family first. I've got a couple of my kids also taking the VMG and being pregnant, and the omegas and the PB Restore has been life changing for them. So, trying to, get my family even habit stacking of these. changes in our lives so that it becomes a sustainable, lasting
Powerful.
business.
I love that so much. Well, who would love to ask Carol some questions while we have her? Feel free to put those in the chat or raise your hand and we can bring you on live. I don't know about everybody else, but I saw the comment earlier. Kira's like, anyone else's mouth just hanging open. Just so impressed with the wisdom you've shared, the journey that you've been on. Um, so amazing. Yeah, and I don't know if I see Judy is here. Maybe she'd like to come on and share some of her insights since she's been part of your journey.
She has been part of my journey. It's been great. We were first friends with our kids growing up together, and now,
Oh, how fun.
yeah, and now walking through doTERRA together. Hey,
That's
Judy.
Okay,
amazing.
unexpected. I've worked out. I've not showered. Hi, everybody.
Perfect.
Hey.
That's the real deal. It's who.
So I do feel like Carol really, of course, her story is amazing, but she did not give herself enough credit. Like she enrolled a couple of her family members in December. In January, she enrolled 6 advocates. And I was like, okay, Carol, I couldn't get ahead of her. And she has just kept going. And she has no fear of sharing her story because she has the heart of helping others.
Mm.
And so, and what the other thing hasn't shared is she reached premiere in March. She's going for silver this month. This woman is growing like crazy, and people are drawn to her because of her authentic heart towards helping them. And the other thing I want to say is she made her names list. And the reason people didn't come to class is because she's so well connected. Her guests ended up as part of the Israel conflict. So there was
True.
a valid reason they could not come. And so
Wow.
timing, it had nothing to do with Carol or her inability to invite. It was just who she's connected with. So
That's
it was,
amazing.
yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like, okay,
So
You're too
fun to
kind,
hear.
Judy.
Thank you for sharing that, Judy. I
yeah.
love hearing that. Okay, we did have a question just come through for you, Carol. What is your focus for the classes once you gained momentum? Um, and at what point did you take it from one-on-one to doing classes?
So I still offer classes at least once a month, and then we do the master classes. A lot of times I'll invite people to those. But I think that when I started going from one-on-one, Judy was just at one of my classes. I really do invite Judy to come along, and she helps. I'm still growing and learning. I've only been doing this, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. Um, but I do, once I invite people to come, I want them to have an experience first. So I said, like, I think we started off with an oil first and letting them
Mhm,
have that, and my own testimony, weaving that into the product lines that
mhm.
I think sometimes we underdo, like Judy has an incredible story with, her health too as well. And so she is, when it comes to gut issues, I'm constantly calling and talking to her and asking, hey, how can I help this person? Because she's got that experience. So I love that each of us have our own story. And I think we need to be willing to share that story with our classes, and then invite people that, you see that might benefit from this, even if they don't know what they're going to benefit from, when they're joining us. Um, so I think it's important to do classes, and move from one-on-ones, but also, there is the follow-up afterwards, which then becomes more one-on-ones. So it's all about relationships and building. And I would like to know how you continue to sustain all these relationships that you get when you have people that are signing up, because it becomes a lot. That becomes, a follow up. So I'm waiting to learn how to do that. So any tips that you all have to offer, I would love. So
Love
yeah.
that so much. So tell us, in the one-on-ones and in the classes, do you lead with oils? Do you lead with foundational wellness? How do you like to lead out?
I tend to lead out by thanking them for coming and listening, or, thanking them for coming. And I usually lead out with an oil.
Okay.
I Breathe is the one we used the other day. And people are like, whoa, hello, and so like they're powerful. These are powerful oils, one drop and you have that experience. Wow. And some of them have never had an oil experience. So, they're feeling it. We've tried the peppermint as well on the bottom of the feet, and then ask them, 15 minutes. Hey, anybody tasting peppermint? Kind of thing. So, kind of leading off with an oil. And then we have a video presentation that we go through, but letting people also feel more comfortable. I have the oils usually across my table. I've found that I like going around a table, my dining room table where I'm sitting now, that and have a TV at the one end than I do in a couch kind of setting. So it seems that the table is safe for people, come to the table, you know, and you can have some products all throughout so they can see them. And then I do set up around my room product experiences. Like I'll have the sleep system, I'll have the deep blue system, I'll have different. It's an investment for me too. I will have these products on hand so they can try it. And then I usually create a roller ball of different things, like small little tiny 5 mLs that they can experience or take with them. I let them take product with them. Not everybody signs up that day, but I'm calling the next or the day after, and then we usually signing up. And that's what I found is most, let some people need to go home and ask their spouses. They need to go down home and look at their finances. We had one woman come in February. She just signed up in May because she had to rework her finances. So, it is important to close the sale, as people say, but it's also real life. And in this economy, for some, it's difficult. And, they have to make some real sacrifices in order to do it. And I have sent people home with full product and said, give it a try for a month. I'm not afraid to do that, especially if you have a relationship with the person. And they're maybe financially constrained. And I said, well, listen, why don't you try it, see if you like it, and then we'll go from there. And I might be out the foundation wellness for a month of somebody, but at the same time, I feel like I've just empowered their life. And they see usually within a month, you'll see change on the foundational wellness. So
Fantastic.
yeah, so product, lead off with oils, and then energy's the foundational, and then I usually give them goodie bags to take home. So
Very
of the
cool.
product.
Awesome. Erica's also asking, what is in your video presentation?
So I can probably share that at some point, but it's that basically and Casey Means is one of those, her list of the things that's wrong with America. And there's a video, slide on that. I have several slides on different kind of things that are going on, bioavailability, going through some of the ones that our upline has put together. So I'm really using someone else's. I do want to more specialize, but taking slides and then talking about the pyramid and then our foundational wellness and then breaking down each of those products into what the VMG is and what, bioavailability and all of those type things. And then going from there, to the PB Restore, to the omegas, letting them try the omegas, having them bite the omegas and know that it doesn't taste like fish oil. And that's amazing. People go, whoa. So again, product trying, right there at the class. And people are like, oh, but once they see someone else bites it or I bite into it, and it's like, and I don't particularly care to bite into them, but I do. I have one friend who said, I really like taking them and chewing them as gum afterwards. Is that okay? And I was like, sure. So she sat there and chewed on the capsule. And that's what she does now. When she gets hungry in the middle of the afternoon, that's one of the things she does. She takes an omega, bites it, and chews the capsule. And I'm like, okay.
Wow, I love it.
So, it's those product experiences, though, that you have in your class can help really sell products too. Especially if people have ever done fish oils and had burping and all that kind of stuff and have the fish taste. It's amazing. Our product is totally amazing. And I really give that credit for bringing back my mind and mental clarity because I was not there. I couldn't remember the names of my rooms. I'd say, go over there. I couldn't tell. It was really bad. And so for me to be mentally having this conversation with you today would not have happened a year ago. So let's leave it at that. So
amazing.
Yeah, it is. That's why I can't be quiet about the product. And I think, but with saying that, I've also learned, and Sarah Schumacher was the best on this. She said, Carol, your testimony is powerful, but so are your questions. And so I
Mm,
think it's really important. And one of the things I do in class is I do let them introduce themselves. And hey, you have any questions? Tell me about you.
mm,
Tell me about one of your health issues. What's going on? How,
mm,
um, and so people inevitably bring up sleep, gut, health,
mhm,
pain. And so those are definitely, and then that's great because then you have a window open and you have other people
mm,
agreeing, oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, yeah. And so,
mhm,
and then in your presentation, you can also put some of the oils. Like I usually have the introduction pack, and I have a card that tells you how to use those oils.
mm,
Um, and a lot of times we do sell the foundational wellness and then the essential oils. I can't, is it the family pack? I can't remember what it's called now.
uh-huh.
So, and then which is beautiful because with the 20% off right now that goes through the end of June, that brings that 250 down to 200. And you can say you're getting this for free, and
Mhm,
if you want, and then all the other free things. And then I'm
mhm,
part of Silver Club, which then gives them other free oils. So it's like
mhm,
free, 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 which helps them then have more of an experience. And so, and that's the reason we start off with breathe in our class because as a Silver Club member, it's the free once you get out over 100 PV. And so then they
mhm.
know how to use that oil, even though it's a roller bottle. So
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Who else has a question for Carol? This is a rare treat to have you. You're in momentum. You're just you're out there doing so much good. What are some
thank you.
questions, maybe around mindset or Carol, maybe what advice would you have for someone who's maybe they're thinking of doing the business, or maybe they've been in, maybe they built a long time ago and their business has fallen back. What advice you have?
Pray is the first. Ask the Lord where you should go, or your faith. Ask where it would best be used. I think is the key. And then look for opportunities. Sometimes open our eyes to something different that you might not have thought of. Maybe go back to your list. There's always those kind of things. But I just think if you pray and open your eyes and look for opportunity, there's a lot of hurting people out there, a lot of anxiety, adaptive, you can, diffuse lavender.
Mhm,
I have a 21-year-old college athlete who can't afford the foundation, but the wellness program, but he loves lavender. It's helping him
mhm,
relax. It's helping him, and he likes the omegas. It's helping his brain. And so, you might not be able to sell the whole package, but look for those things. Here's a healthy male that is a runner, he's a sprinter. So you
mhm,
can imagine his physique and
mhm,
his diet, and he's disciplined. But
mhm,
when you listen closer, he was having trouble with anxiety. He was having trouble with, being able to stay focused. And so I said, well, I can't, what can you afford? Because he says, I want it all, I love it. But he determined that the omegas were the best thing for him. And the lavender was
mhm,
free that month. He ordered the foundational wellness, realized he couldn't do it. But anyhow, he's staying on the omegas and he loves the lavender because the
mhm,
lavender has helped him to sleep at night. So sometimes listening to them, anxiety is huge. There's so many
mhm,
people out there, like you were mentioned earlier, loneliness, depression. Look, pray and open your eyes, and God will give you an opportunity to walk forward into someone's life. And if you can see it as sharing love with them versus making a
mhm,
sale, I think that's the key too. Because I think a lot of people want to be able to um, trust you, but they also your testimony is powerful, but you can't sound salesy.
mhm.
And I think I can do sales. My kids will say, "Mom, you're selling again," you know. But it's so there's a balance anyway. So I would say if you're not sure where you're going, um, you know, talk to your upline and ask them to help you get back on track. Talk to or listen to some of the podcasts that will help maybe you refocus because it's tough. Life takes a lot of twists and turns. Um, But I think this, like we said earlier, being steady, um,
Yeah.
one person at a time, serving others one at
I
a
love
time.
that. So, so good. Any tips for keeping your mindset in a good place? It's so easy to get into, everyone else is having success, but me.
Yeah,
How do you manage your mindset?
that's a great question because I put a lot of pressure sometimes on myself
Mhm.
and to get that, like, especially in Silver Club, five, 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 And it
Mhm.
doesn't sound like much, but it's like this month where I've got graduations and we're traveling here and doing this and doing that
Mhm.
and haven't spent as much time as I would have liked to. And so you have to give yourself grace
Mhm.
because not everything is about a number, not everything is about uh, um, having it regimented, having
Mhm.
it's great to set goals, but we have to give ourselves grace within those goal setting.
Mhm.
Um, and I think as you do that and you take a deep breath and you say, okay, I have this. Um, it might not have turned out the way I wanted to, but let me look at the good. So being grateful for what has occurred and being grateful that you're still able to,
Mhm.
move forward and possibly sign somebody up. So,
Wow.
so
So powerful. Such good advice.
yeah, I saw somebody just put in the chat, my husband and my kids are grateful to have me back.
I'm
Because
sure.
when you lose your health, the only thing you want back is your health. And
Mhm.
so I'm thankful to the Lord. I'm thankful to Judy for introducing me to doTERRA, and I'm certainly
Mhm.
um, thankful for doTERRA. And when I came out to conference, it was confirmation
Mhm.
that I'm doing the right thing because Dr. Hill's testimony of frankincense, cocobaiba, and
Mhm.
turmeric um, were the three main things that I used, and they were the three things he spoke about. And those all transformed my life and averted surgery. Then
Mhm.
coming out to experience doTERRA. I would say the experience doTERRA was great. It was very small and intimate, but
Mhm.
because of that, it was great. It was confirming to me. I was able to hear a testimony of your brother-in-law sitting at a table outside of a restaurant about mindset matters. And he's absolutely right. That was the other key point. And when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. And he said, listen to the podcast, get on the YouTube, do the different things. Don't waste your time just listening to the music and down the road you go.
Mhm.
Put on something that's going to stimulate you, that's going to grow you. And I think that if people are struggling with not how to get restarted,
Mhm.
listen to a podcast. Listen,
Mhm.
frankincense, the new one, and boswellic acid, and I just listened to that yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start taking this because I take the frankincense internally, drops. But I'm thinking, oh, boswellic acid. Once you find out what things do, not everything's for me, and I've learned some oils aren't right for me, but then there are so many that are, and so doing the experience in doTERRA, I found out that there was a lot of emotional release from Natalie doing a group uh, release, and I didn't even know I needed, but really set me free in an area. So that the oils set me free in an emotional area as well. And I was like, wow. So if I wasn't sure about these products before, I am now even more positive about them. And so. And I would say get with somebody that's on your upline and let them encourage you to get refocused and restarted.
Yeah.
One step at a time and put realistic, goals there,
Mhm.
not something way up here that someone else is doing. The eyes of comparison are killers
Mhm.
to your spirit, and you just need to not do that. Praise. Somebody told me a long time ago, praise a person's celebrate with them, don't be jealous of them. And that
Mhm.
was such good advice because there are a lot of people that are going to take, like my organization, E3 Kids International, it's a small nonprofit. But if I would have looked at uh, Just One Africa, which I love what they do right beside us in Kenya, if I would look at where they're going, they're far exceeding us money wise. But you know what?
Mhm.
I'm impacting people in a
Mhm.
different way. And so we need to almost put blinders on. Let's not look at
Mhm.
others. Let's celebrate others and let's just keep focused on where we're going one person at a time.
Yeah. Such good wisdom. Just stay in your lane, right? What is God
Yeah.
calling you to?
Yeah.
And who do you have stewardship over to lift and bless? Yeah, it's not a race. It's not
No,
a
exactly.
so so good.
But I love it that, Andy, if I can just say, I love that you're sharing what you have and doing and getting people on. And you and Natalie are incredible. You've been there from the very beginning, and you're not afraid to allow others to hear, from you. And you're such an encourager of us who are just getting started. So,
Well, Natalie is definitely the shining example, from day one that I met her. Like she discovers any good thing, she's going to share it. It
mhm.
doesn't matter if it's a book, a movie, a podcast, even a restaurant. She's going to share it with the world. So that's that's just what comes naturally, right? When
Yeah.
we're blessed, lifted, transformed by something, we just want to share with others.
Yep. Amen. So.
Awesome. Well, any other questions for Carol? I am just so grateful for everything you've shared. Any parting words of wisdom for us, Carol?
Ah, just trust. For me, it would be to encourage you, if you know the Lord, to trust your faith, trust Him to lead you and
Mhm.
guide you. Um, Stay true and use the product. And once you use the product, you see,
Mhm.
you have to be a user before you can be a sharer. And so
Mhm.
it's even more authentic when you can have your own personal testimony of a product and of an oil. And I'm don't know where I'm going in doTERRA. I know I'll go to gold at least and maybe beyond, but we'll
Mhm.
see. I'm having two grandbabies coming, so I'm not. I've got a. I'm buying a second home down near my kids, and I'm gonna go and move there and watch
Fun.
babies for a year. So it'll be a new market for me. But at the same time, I know that there will be opportunities again to share, and so just keep your eyes open, keep looking. There are a lot of people out there that need not only the product, but really the conversation and
Yeah.
um, your presence in their lives. So,
Awesome. Earlier, you were mentioning James Bybee, my brother-in-law, who, he really um, advocates for personal development.
hmm
And we all know that you become the product of the five people you hang out with the most.
yeah.
And it doesn't have to be with people you hang out in person. It could be the podcast you listen to. So, was there a specific podcast that he was recommending, or you were recommending, or was it just be intentional and don't just zone out listening to music, just choose
He was
education?
he was now. If you have someone do you want to share with me? I would love to learn.
No, no, no. That's what
um,
people are asking in the chat is
yeah,
you
I
mentioned the
think for
podcast.
Yeah, for me, I started listening to the doTERRA, and forgive me, I don't know their two names. The woman and man who share all the different products. I started with Dr. Hill, that
Uh,
is the doTERRA oils, and started just listening to those, learning about them. I listened to all the past classes and a lot of the master
mm,
classes and a lot of those different things just to learn and understand more about the product. And then as far as personal development and growth, um, no, I guess I have done different ones over the years, but nothing currently that pertains to doTERRA. A lot of
awesome.
different leadership ones.
Do you have a
But
favorite on leadership?
Oh, you would ask me that. I mean, I used to do John Maxwell years ago,
He's the
and
best.
yeah, he
He's great.
definitely, um, and Strength Finders and a couple other different things that I can't remember. I'm looking at all the books; they're too far away for me to see them.
No worries.
Uh,
Yeah, we're huge John Maxwell fans.
yeah.
The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership,
Yes.
just a classic
Yeah.
in our library.
Yeah.
And any others of his that you
I
turn
see
to
them
often?
far away, but I can't remember the
No
names.
worries. No, no,
That's
no, you're
terrible.
totally great.
That is one thing that I got to say, that when I was doing they were worried about me in my mind. I have never been a name person, and I've never been a book
Same.
name person. And so I can tell you the concepts within things, but I can't tell you the different books. Um, but yeah.
I
Um,
totally hear you. People ask me about different actors or
oh.
And I'm like, I
My
have
husband goes,
no
blah,
idea.
blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he knows all the name. And I'm like, no, I can't even picture them. I don't know who they are.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
I
Totally
would just
agree.
say, yeah, I would say find what that you're drawn to.
Yeah.
I am right now because I'm traveling a lot back and forth. Um, I do a lot of podcast, or I will do, like I said, the doTERRA life from corporate
Hmm.
that, just learning the product, learning and understanding. I'm so open. I'm so new to this and I'm so open. So if anybody, please, that's listening, I would love that you've learned from, please put
Hmm.
it in the chat or let us know because I'm always open to learning. Um, but I just think it's the mindset. You have to
Hmm.
keep ourselves learning and
Hmm.
growing. And when we become stagnant, I think that's when growth will also become stagnant. So you
Yeah.
lose momentum.
Yep. We're either growing, expanding, or dying, right? Like
Yeah,
it's one or the other.
yeah,
So,
exactly, exactly.
well,
So
Carol, thank you so, so much for giving of your time, sharing your incredible journey. This
yeah,
is, gosh, just so, so inspiring. And I hope everybody, if you missed any part of this, go back and re-listen. Your journey is just, yeah, it's a light. So thank you
thank
for holding
you,
up your light to all of us today.
thank
So
you,
grateful for you.
thank you. I'm grateful for you too as well and being here. Thanks for
Thank you
listening.
so much.
Good.
You and everyone else who's on this call. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week.